And we'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh dear.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We need to look at our minutes.
Yes,
We'll just come back.
it is now open.
I need to shut the volume up on this thing.
March 19th minutes.
I had no issues.
I didn't have any issues with it either.
That was the one. Come on. I had a comment. I'm waiting for this to open.
Here, that's for you too.
That was the right one. The one, oh, this isn't the right. On one of, maybe it was the February one. On one of them, it mentions, the sentence started, thus safety, and you forgot to put committee as the second word.
I think I saw that too.
I think I forgot which,
I just
I'm
didn't
looking
really
in March, but it doesn't seem to
think
be
about
in
it.
the March one.
I was just looking at them. I don't have a copy, but I
Do you know where it showed up?
Well, February would have already been
I
passed.
think it showed up in the director's report.
Was it the director's report? I thought it was the minutes.
Well, the director's report in the minutes. I think the safety committee has begun
There it is.
meeting.
It's under administration.
Yes.
The safety, you just put the safety. So it should say the safety committee.
Huh, okay, I can fix that, no problem. Just to administration. That was just a typo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Discombobulated right
Does anyone have any comments about the minutes?
No.
We've already approved the February minutes, so the March
Yes.
minutes?
Yeah, just the March minutes.
I didn't have any questions.
No
now.
comments?
I didn't either.
I move we accept the March minutes. Any seconding?
Oh, I second it.
Okay, motion passes. Oh,
No.
all in favor? I always forget to vote.
Since I wasn't at the meeting, I don't feel like I'm
But-
in a position
Well,
to
that's,
vote.
That's
okay,
okay.
that's right,
So
so
one
401.
Okay, committee updates, Friends of the Library. What is this?
Are we going to do non-public?
Oh, the non-public, yes, thank you.
Yeah, the non-public minutes approve.
I approve the non-public minutes for March 19th.
You move that we approve the March 19th non-public minutes. I second that.
Well, no, Janice already did.
Oh, you did, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. All in favor?
401.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay.
All right, sorry, okay. So, Friends of the Library.
Okay, wait one
Rick
sec.
is usually the liaison.
He gave us a little bit, the biggest thing that he told us is that the Friends voted to increase the bag price for book sale from $2 to $3. That was going to be their lowest, and that's all he told us.
Okay.
That was the biggest thing to come out of the meeting.
Yeah. Were you at the meeting event? Is there anything you'd like to add?
No.
No?
Okay, so for the Friends, last meeting, the most important thing that was decided was pricing for the
On
bags of
Sunday,
books on
Sunday
The
Sunday.
lowest,
bags.
yeah, instead of the lowest price being 2,
Two.
now it's going to be 3.
3, okay.
So I guess it's 3 to 5.
325?
Isn't it 3 or 5?
3, 4,
3,
or
4, 5.
5.
Yeah, that's how
Okay,
it's
yeah.
priced.
Okay, the Development Fund. Actually, the Development Fund and the
Hold on.
trustee, huh?
But the development fund, they have, did they meet?
No, they did not.
So,
I was going to say the Development Fund, the trustees, and the Friends met.
yeah, that's in Yvette's notes, I thought.
That's the joint boards?
It was
Yeah.
a joint
Yeah.
meeting.
But this is different. This one
This-
is.
The Development
Okay.
Fund is not meeting at the present time, to my knowledge. They don't have a meeting scheduled, to my knowledge. Unless you know of a meeting they've
No.
scheduled. I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay. And basically, they're just exploring what the next steps are with the library
Yep.
as a group. So,
That's a different board.
that's a different board,
group.
yes.
That's
It's
under-
just a
It's not
different
Development
group,
Fund.
but it involves the Development Fund. Yeah.
I'm confused.
Okay.
The Development Fund Committee, Karen.
Yeah.
They are not meeting.
they're-
Right.
They meet 3 times a year. Bill calls the meetings.
Right,
He has not called a meeting.
correct.
Separately,
Separately is
the joint boards are meeting monthly. That's a whole separate thing, which we haven't
Okay.
gotten to on the agenda yet.
Yeah,
Right.
that's at the bottom. I
Okay.
probably should have waited to say anything on that.
Is that what you were gonna say? Could I interrupt?
Yes.
Would we consider our newly elected trustee to be new business, or might we want to introduce her now?
She's on the agenda for new business.
Just wanted to make sure. I was like, wait.
We're just getting through
Okay.
these things. Okay.
Let me
Town Center Committee.
Yes. Town Center Committee met on March 29th. And, basically simply updated the Department of Transportation, grants for the various projects that are being undertaken with the state. So the Sauhegan River Trail and the O'Gara Drive sidewalks, all of those things were discussed and are sort of on hiatus, waiting for the state and engineers and so on. The Town Center Committee is looking to become more active on social media and videos on the town website, so that more people know that they exist, or we exist. But basically, it's just, nothing major is progressing right now. We're just sort of on hold.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Trustee committees, Personnel Committee, nothing to report. Building Maintenance, nothing to report. And Investment Committee, nothing to report at this time. Unless anyone has anything to say along those.
Just that, the development of the trustee manual
That's part of our
has
goals. Yeah.
taken a
yeah.
step forward on the Personnel Committee.
We are putting together a manual for you. We have just not completed the task yet.
So, but that is ongoing and being developed.
Yes. Okay, new business. We would like to welcome Deb Covell to the board as a new trustee. She will be serving a 3-year term and is obviously a resident of Merrimack. So welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Typically, this time of year with the new board, well, you're the new board. We also determine the offices. So we vote on a new treasurer, secretary, and chair, which we can do. This would probably be a good time to do that, handle that task. So at this time, would anyone like to make a nomination for, we can start with the secretary position. I nominate Karen.
Is that a second to the nomination? Is that how that works?
Okay.
Well, you have to accept it.
I've accepted it.
Do you want it?
Well, here, I
Do you
went
want
through
it?
my notes.
Either one of you?
And there was discussion at some point of like a co-secretary.
I can do that.
Situation, or I was thinking secretary in training,
Sure.
so that I
I'd be
could
happy
start
to do that.
learning how
Oh,
to do it.
absolutely, yes. We did that last year with our bylaws, so that there could be two people.
So, yes, but I don't know if that means I need to be formally nominated or just, we know I'm secretary in training.
Okay,
I don't know if that has to be formal.
I think we can approve that.
Okay.
We can,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
I'm just not clear on how long you feel you need to be secretary. I mean, this is a position for a year, so is there a specification on end dates?
No.
Are you
that's
asking
just-
me
That's what exactly I was
specifically,
just
or are you
reading.
asking?
Yeah. I'm
All of
asking
us.
any of you?
Well,
Well,
Karen's here for another year.
well, we usually revisit the executive board, the president and the treasurer and the secretary during the April meeting, and usually move positions around at that time. At least that's,
I know I've done this before.
well, I know you have.
So-
I know you have.
Right.
But we haven't really revisited them, to my knowledge, in between. So, I mean, I will accept the secretary's position for the next year, but by us meeting and saying, and Janice saying that she would help with that and, you know, work at becoming comfortable with it, then she would be positioned for a future date, not after this year.
I understand that. I'm just, I guess I'm asking a question more from my experience with other boards. You know, in GMILKs, there's no training ground for secretary, you just jump in. You know, and you copy the format. You
Of the
copy the
code.
format from the previous secretary, and in GMILKs, actually, there's an invitation to, you know, change it, make improvements, you know, all that kind of stuff. In
And I did
GMILKs
that too.
Sure. In GMILKs for treasurer, we changed our bylaws recently, so there's a 6-month overlap with the treasurer position, but only on a year when we're not being audited, only on a year when it's a review, so it's an off year, you know, because every other year we're audited. So it's just the second half of the term. It's not, that's what I'm saying is, are you gonna be secretary for the entire 12 months? Or is it really just leading into, you know, at what point is there a transition happening? Because in other boards where there might be a little bit of an overlap, it's not a, parallel position. It's,
Right.
Right.
you know, just a couple of months of overlap, just to have a little bit of training, but it's not.
Well, that's good.
Well, it's not, none of these positions are, you know, brain surgery or anything. It's just, you know,
they're just,
taking minutes, but.
yeah,
So
well, it's just understanding what's going on and then being able to put it down in a reasonably clear, reasonably accurate way. That's about it. I mean, you know. But, so it's great that you are willing to take it on. Do you want to, you know, do you want to do now? Or, yeah,
I
and-
don't feel comfortable doing now, so if we have to come up with, it has to be
6 months?
6 months or a year, if
All
that's
right.
what you need, then that's what we can do. I don't agree
Well,
with that, but I'm
What
happy
is
to do
it
it
you,
that
what
way.
is your look, what are you looking to do, Janice?
I don't understand why it couldn't be possible that she and I could be working together the entire year.
Uh-huh,
And then if I want to be the secretary the next round,
mm-hmm.
I be the secretary.
Okay, I was just asking for some clarification.
I wouldn't think it would be more than a year, but if you want to, I'll structure it to 6 months from now. I'm happy to do that too. I'm not comfortable with just jumping in. I'd
Right.
rather
Okay, well,
walk through
well,
with someone.
why don't we just say that I will be secretary for the next year, and that you will be a co-secretary in training, for the next 6 months, and then
Well-
we'll address it again. Because she's ready to do it now. I don't want her to wait 6 months if she
Okay.
does.
No, I'm
No,
not
no,
ready
she's
to
not
do
ready
it
to do it now.
I don't think
You're
I
not
have-
ready, you mean,
I'm not ready to
To do the job.
do the job fully. You're
Right.
not saying that.
no, I'm not saying
What
that.
you saying?
No, I'm saying for you to work with me
Right.
for the next 6 months,
And
and
then
then we
come
will
back
see
to
how you feel.
Can I make another suggestion? I'm sorry, I
Go
feel like
for it.
I'm opening a can of worms here, I'm sorry. So in one of my boards, I'm the chair of Hillstown, but Hillstown is set up so that you have two chairs, you have co-chairs, one from a larger library in the group and one from a smaller library in the group. And the chair creates the agenda, sends out whatever things need to be, with the agenda and so on. But with my co-chair, she had never done it before, and I'd done a lot of this kind of stuff before. So I knew there had to be some months when I would ask her, are you ready to take on the agenda for this month? And we made a plan. So now we're, like I did, January, February, March, April. She's gonna do May, we're off for the summer, and then we have to get back to a schedule of who's gonna alternate, September and so on, just so that she's doing it, So I think it might be good if you guys work out some kind of schedule so that you can, actually be taking the minutes, maybe you guys sit next to each other, and then there's actual training going on instead of 6 months from now, you're dropped into it. That's not gonna help you, but if you're more working together, but then at some point you're gonna try one for 1 month, I think that would be my
You
recommendation.
and I could change seats.
I guess in my mind, I
You guys
already
can sit
had
anywhere you
that
want.
in my mind, so I didn't.
Fantastic.
You're right, I didn't say it out loud. I've actually been sort of pretending over here, going, "Oh, I took this. This is what happened on this," because I can make notes. So,
So how would you like to approach it?
well, one thought I had was we both take them,
Mhm.
and then you and I compare.
Okay.
Okay.
So as a training
Can
thing
you
at the
record that in
moment?
minutes so that
Okay.
if there's.
Because
if
we
you guys
do allow
forget,
for two.
No.
Or
we're
if
gonna
in our
do this.
bylaws,
to
yeah.
be, I listen for 6 months and then I try. Like I'm open to anything, but I figured the easiest thing was both of us take them
Okay.
and then compare notes.
So why don't we do that for now, and then if you actually take minutes, then we'll vote that as a co-secretary.
I don't think that's a good
Yeah, I
idea.
don't
We
think
shouldn't
that-
have two sets of minutes. You have one set of
No,
minutes.
no, you can
Alright.
have one set. They're just
So I
writing
should
them,
be
but she's
sitting.
just
Yeah,
gonna,
that's
as a
what I mean, but
training thing.
you were just saying that we would accept her minutes.
No, if she wanted to do it for her,
Oh.
all by herself, we would just vote as a co-secretary at that time, as Yvette suggested. See what I'm saying? You're just gonna compare the minute.
It absolutely
I
is.
think a pretty simple transition. I
I
think it
agree.
makes sense that
No,
you work together collaboratively, you're doing the minutes, and then at some
we'll do
point-
it on the phone or whatever, and, you'll take if you want to just take your notes, and I'm gonna go ahead and just do what I'm doing,
Right.
and then a week before, we'll talk on the phone or whatever, and put them together. And that's
Okay.
all. And that's fine.
All right,
And
so,
we'll try that for a while. That's
Okay.
good.
so let's finish our nomination and voting for Karen.
All right.
But you have two people now, you have to.
Well, she's not submitting the minutes, though.
I'm gonna do the minutes.
Karen's doing the minutes.
We'll bring it up at a future date if we're gonna switch and Janice is gonna do it. But right now,
Okay,
let's
so I
just keep it
nominate
simple.
Karen to be the secretary. Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor? Okay. Now we have the treasurer.
I nominate Janet.
I second. All in favor? Do you accept the position?
Yes, I accept the position.
Now we have to vote for chair. Would anyone like to make a nomination?
I'll nominate you.
I'll
Okay.
second.
All in favor? Okay. So that's settled.
Okay, can I
Yes,
make a request?
yes.
As you've been chair, we've had an arrangement to have an additional trustee present when you and I are meeting.
Yes?
We continue to do that.
Yes,
This was agreed upon in the mediation.
yes, that's fine, yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? No, okay. And we have a guest. I'd rather than have you sit through the whole meeting. Perhaps we should just push the button and it turns the microphone on.
It already looked like it was on. Hi, I'm Natasha Bayramova.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm Natasha Bayramova. Can you hear?
Not really.
I don't know.
You can pick
It's
it up,
on.
move it closer to you.
I don't want it to be too close. Natasha Bayramova.
Okay,
I'm a Merrimack resident.
there we go.
Okay. And ex-Merrimack Library employee. Former. Merrimack Library. I'm just here to observe and learn. No agenda.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Well, thank you. Considering being an alternate?
Not at this time.
Okay, well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
All righty then. The other thing we need to do is assign for our committees. Does anyone want to make any changes to their liaisonship to any of the committees at this time? We have the Friends Committee. Actually, that's the vacant one. We don't have anybody that is our liaison to the Friends, who goes to the Friends. I believe the Friends are the fourth Monday of the month.
Mhm.
Is that right? And just to report back, just as a liaison, that is the open one right now. Would anyone like to?
Hold on. Let's go
Yes.
through the committees so she understands what the committees are.
Okay, well, the committees are under committee updates. You can see there's the Friends. We have a liaison to that. We have a liaison to the Town Center Committee. When we have the turkey shoot going on, we add the turkey shoot to our list of committees.
Could you clarify the difference between the Library Development Fund and the Library Building Development and Marketing Committee?
Well, in the time that I have been involved as a trustee, the Library Building Development and Marketing Committee has not met. So right now, it is not a viable committee. Do you have anything to add to that, Yvette?
Okay, so the Library Building Development and Marketing Committee was formed back when people involved in the library stakeholders were exploring a new building, new construction. So that's what that was, and the trustees convened that committee. It was made up of residents, staff, and board members. But because we don't have an active building project, it doesn't exist anymore. It finished its work exploring and gave a report to the board probably 6 years ago and hasn't met since.
Okay.
The Development Fund Committee is the fundraising or investment arm of the library. There are several directors on the committee. That's their position name, and a president. Bill Cummings is the president. And they receive donations that are different kind of donations. They're, the Friends receive donations, this board receives donations, and the Development Fund receives other kinds of donations, and they manage that money and invest it.
Thank you.
So at the present time, in terms of the Development Fund, I think I'm the liaison for that one. And then Karen has been the Town Center liaison.
Yeah, the Town Center liaison is a question because they meet at noon on Fridays. So the people that come are people that can get there on their lunch hour or who are retired or don't work on Fridays. So I can do that, but not everybody can, so.
Okay. So is anyone interested in being the liaison to the Friends?
Is that something that meets at night?
It's Monday, the fourth Monday of the month,
At
7
night.
o'clock at the
So
library.
Unless you're interested
No,
in it.
you know what, either one. I find the Development Fund fascinating too, but whatever you need, that's fine.
Being the liaison to the Friends is fine.
What?
Being the liaison.
you
to
wanna
the-
do
yeah, I'd
that?
like to do that.
Okay. Alrighty.
Well, and I will just put out that I'd be happy if someone couldn't go to the Friends or the Development Fund to go in your place. Both of those would be things.
Well, you're also welcome to attend the Friends meeting. Doesn't mean you can't go.
Oh, no, I understand, but just if someone felt that they couldn't, I'd be happy to learn more about both of those.
Okay.
I've been a friend before, but I don't know as much quite about the Development Fund, so I'd be happy to go if you weren't able to make it.
Okay.
Can I just, you may not know this or remember this or realize this, Deb. When you have a quorum of this board present somewhere else, I need to post it.
Okay.
So that's one thing when we have multiple people showing up at meetings,
Oh,
I
and
just need to know.
Sure, and I did not realize that, so thank you. for
Yeah,
letting
so
me
the
know
number's
that.
3.
So- Okay, yep.
That's your
okay.
magic number. You can be together, but you cannot talk about board business and you can't
Sure.
make any, you can't vote.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else along those lines? Are you all set, Karen?
Pretty all set.
Okay. All right. Another thing on our agenda is scheduling our board retreat. Why don't we bump that to the end so we're all not fishing through our calendars right now?
What about our committees, our LBOC committees?
Oh, personnel and
Do
building
you want
maintenance.
to change those?
And investment.
Maybe Deb wants to be a part of one.
And Rick was on something, right?
Rick was
So-
on the
Rick
Yeah,
was
he
on
was
personnel.
personnel.
Committee, right, okay. So the Personnel Committee was Karen and Rick.
I have an interest in doing that.
So you'd like to do that as well? Okay.
You want to do that too?
Yes, I would like to do that.
Oh, I do actually enjoy personnel stuff, but that's fine. What else, then what were you doing that you would need someone to join you?
Janet and I were on a building committee, but that's sort of been on hiatus, so I'm not sure how we're
Yeah,
moving forward with that or not, so.
right.
Yeah.
You were more interested in.
Yeah, it's really not a functioning committee at the moment, really. And then we have the Investment Committee, which is typically been Janet and I. That's all we
Is there
have.
anything about finance, numbers?
I can learn.
So hoping.
Yeah, I will not be shadowing you for that.
Oh, yeah, I was like, oh, so hoping.
Not to beg a point, we don't have to make a motion to do this.
No,
correct? Okay.
no, so, does anything interest you there?
Well, how many people do you have on each committee?
Just 2, we can't have more than 2.
All right, because of the quorum thing. Okay. Well, I'm happy to help out Janet if she needs help, but it sounds like you're on that committee. I'd be interested in personnel, but you have 2, and the building is not functioning, so I think that there's nothing for me to volunteer for right now.
Okay. Not to say there won't be opportunity throughout the year. We'll have to see how things go, okay?
Is anyone doubling?
Yeah, I'm on the town center and
No, I mean of your committees.
No.
I haven't filled everything in yet, so maybe I'm missing someone. But if there's someone doubling, then wouldn't that open up a spot for you?
No,
Well,
there's nobody
given that
doubling.
with building and maintenance, because you give us a list now,
Mm-hmm.
essentially in our meetings, we were just going through the list.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, why were we meeting?
Okay,
So,
So it's,
which is pretty much why we haven't met again.
okay.
Could I just ask, what exactly does the Personnel Committee do?
if a personnel issue arises
Mhm.
that requires involvement with the board,
Mhm.
the Personnel Committee would be the trustees that would approach that.
You and Rick had been working on a trustee.
We also,
manual,
yeah,
right?
which,
Or is that you two?
well, I sort of
Okay.
stepped in to do that.
All
But
right.
we're working, they're also working on a manual put together specific to some trustee things for Merrimack. And the Personnel Committee took that on.
it's a Merrimack. Things you should know about the Merrimack
Mhm.
Library as a trustee, because there are manuals that the state
Mhm.
puts out for trustees that kind of covers everything, but it's kind of very large.
Mhm.
And this way, we're in the process of developing one that's pretty pertinent to Merrimack. And it's moving
Did they answer
along.
your question? Not really. That's okay. So if an issue arises with personnel and it needs to come to the trustees, first it goes to the personnel committee.
Maybe
That's
I'll,
what-
let me
Well,
just,
no.
Because I'm not
can I
clear
just
on-
clarify a little
No.
bit? So this might help everybody, because I think this was before any of you came on the board. So, a long time ago, there were no LBOC committees. They didn't exist. And when personnel issues came up or building issues came up, then the entire board convened. At GMIL, at one of the GMIL's board meetings, Diane Hathaway, who's the director at Goffstown, you might know Diane, she said, my trustees have subcommittees. We've got someone for building, we've got someone for personnel, we've got someone for the investments. So then you don't have to coordinate 5 schedules. It's just 2 plus the director. And then you can have maybe a more in-depth meeting or conversation or whatever's going on, and then have it be, reported to the board at a monthly meeting. So that was kind of the origin of this. I think, Janet, you're correct that, we haven't been meeting regularly, and, the personnel committee has kind of swerved off in this other direction to write up a trustee manual, but that was not the original intent. The original intent was for the director to be able to communicate on things that are maybe a little more urgent and not have to convene 5 schedules or 6 schedules. That was the origin, so if that helps.
And we've done that once or twice, but in the lulls, we found a way to keep ourselves busy, so.
Thank you.
So can I just piggyback on that? Because now I'm feeling like maybe we do need a definition of all of these, so it's
Well,
more clear for everyone.
That's part of what
There
we're.
is one. There is
Okay.
one. I wrote it up. It should be in your manual. It's in my manual, but
Okay.
there is one. I can get that to you. I'll send it
Well,
out.
sometimes I miss things, so
I'm
now I know where to look.
No problem.
What are we saying? That there's
The
a
definition of the purpose, I have purpose statements for each of these
Of,
committees.
of the committees,
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, maybe you changed the investment committee purpose statement, Janet, but there was originally.
Yep.
No problem.
I know we have some of that
Yeah,
for
we
the
have
manual.
that. Yeah. Any other discussion on the committees?
I still don't have anything written down.
Okay.
I have Janice on personnel and I have Laura on investment. I don't
Janice
have-
and Karen on personnel. And then building and maintenance, we didn't do anything with. And then Janet and I on investment.
So is it possible for the next meeting that we pull those out and review them to make sure we all understand what those
Well, I can,
committees
I
involve?
can scan them in and send them to everybody.
Because I have an idea of
With
something
your-
I wanted to do on personnel, but maybe that doesn't really
So
apply to personnel.
I was going to say, because as you're saying that, I was understanding from what you said that personnel committee is really a sounding board for when you need help, but that the personnel that we aren't, that it's not a time to be doing something, that it's more that we're here for you or when an issue arises.
Mhm.
I guess I'm still trying to understand if that's what it is, then anything that would be done on the personnel committee really should be before all of the trustees if it's something that you wanted to do versus her, versus Yvette reaching out to us. Does that make sense? Is that what I'm saying?
Mhm.
No, it doesn't make sense?
No, it does make
Okay,
sense. It
so-
does
so
make sense.
maybe it is time for
and-
clarification, because I'm
Right.
just saying that from what you're all telling me, that this is, when you have an issue, we are here to hear it, support you, and provide feedback when it's a personnel issue. That's what the personnel committee's role is.
Mhm.
Okay. I guess, is that not correct? I don't know.
Well, you have to ask them.
Is that
I mean,
not
that was the,
correct? Is
that was the origin.
That was the origin. Okay,
was the
but now you're
origin.
saying that you want to do something on the personnel committee, so maybe there is.
So I'm misunderstanding what
the
the
personnel
role of the
committee.
personnel
Got it.
committee is, which is
Okay.
I have to do my homework, and before I agree to be on the
The
personnel committee,
Personnel
I
Committee
need
in the
to
past,
be
when
sure,
there has
clear.
been we've had a situation where an employee has asked to speak with the board,
Mhm.
and the Personnel Committee was who they met with.
Sure, okay.
So that's the kind of thing that the
Okay.
Personnel Committee might be involved in.
Mhm.
Okay. Depending on what the issue is, it may be, things might come up in a non-public session.
Mhm.
So, and I think the committee in and of itself is not a static thing. It can
Right.
evolve and change as the need arises.
I'm just hearing two different things. I'm hearing that the personnel committee is here for staff and for Yvette when there's an issue, but that this is not a committee that necessarily makes decisions overall about personnel. It's really just for those particular issues. Correct. Okay, thank you.
That's true.
Thank you. Sorry, I have a lot of questions. Still
That's
learning
okay.
as you say.
Excellent.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'm going to give you just a little background with the building. So 4 years ago-ish, 5, a new roof went on, and there were just a lot of conversations about the roof. And after the roof, it was like, it would have been nice if we had a building committee. So we established a building committee, but then through the process of the building committee, we were like, if you just gave us an update of what's going on, building maintenance
Mhm.
stuff, and we used to have meetings for that, but then Yvette would provide that for the board. So then it just became, well, you're already giving us the updates, we don't need to meet with
Sure.
you.
Yeah.
So we've grown out of it, and we haven't had a major building
Situation.
issue since the roof. So,
The biggest project going on is really the replacement of the children's windows.
Mhm.
Well, they're going to be bricked in, and that Yvette is handling that with the town.
Which has been a problem for
But that's
years.
the big issue going on in the building right now.
okay.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. So, July 4th parade, Yvette?
Yeah, so this is, just an update. The summer reading theme for this year is a universe of stories. And usually during the July 4th parade, the library, maybe some staff or volunteers, board members, friends, march in the parade. And the children's room staff have already started to work on the theme and plans and what people are going to wear. So I usually do that, but I was delighted that they were so excited about this Universe of Stories theme that they just said, oh, here's an idea for the parade. So I don't have to do it. I have to fill out the form that we're participating, but they are planning everything. So right now, the last I heard, it was going to be an alien theme to go with like a space universe. But they might change. So we're, I'm just letting them run with it. Let me know. Right now, so far, we have pencils that I think they change. I think they're heat pencils. They change when you hold them. I forget. I handed her a box of, I have 500 pencils I gave her. So this is Jenny downstairs in children's. So I don't know how many pencils I gave her, but I said, here's the handout. So more information will be coming. So if you want to march in the parade, let me know, and we all meet up at Tractor Supply. You've probably been around.
I've been there, yes. Done it.
Okay. Fine Amnesty Month?
So Fine Amnesty Month, this is the time of year when I would bring this request to you. The staff would like to have Fine Amnesty Month in June. They've been holding it in June for the past couple of years. This gives patrons an opportunity to clear their card of fines. This does not include cost of lost materials, damaged materials, and so on. And then if items are fined that belong to other libraries, those libraries would still receive their fines. They're working out all of the publicity for that. Now, it's really not gonna be any different than last year, you know. So if you would like, that's the request. Would you like to have Fine Amnesty Month in June?
And typically doing that, I move that we have Fine Amnesty Month this year in June.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Okay. And the NHLTA conference, are we signed up?
No, I need to hear from you. If you want to register yourself online, you're welcome to do that, but you have to choose your sessions.
Yeah, typically you've registered us, that's why I was wondering.
I need to know your sessions,
Okay.
because they always want to get a head count of how many people are coming to different workshops.
Okay.
So that's all I need. We still have some time.
I don't think I got
May
the,
6th, right?
I
is
did.
I don't think I
Deadline, I
got that yet, that has the sessions
Yeah,
in it.
I think I
It's
sent you the
online
deadline, or
and
it's on
it's-
here.
Yeah.
It's online
Yeah,
and
May 10
it's-
is the registration.
Is
deadline.
it okay if I email you my choices?
Hmm?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, so that's gonna be.
Here.
Yeah, that's good.
So we'll do that, we'll email Yvette our choices for the sessions, and she can enroll us for the, you said it was May 10th this year?
The deadline is May
The deadline,
10th,
I
the
was gonna say, I thought it was a
conference
different
is May
date.
29th,
Right.
and this is under your calendar under F.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I thought. That's good.
Is it okay, is it okay to stick this in there, excuse me, put this in there? Have you signed up for the April, is there still an April trustee?
No,
training?
that's finished.
Okay, it already happened.
I think it was just this past Friday.
Okay. I know somehow I was able to do it in my first year. It must have just fallen out just right.
Okay.
It was really helpful.
Did you get the pamphlet, the brochure that lists all the different workshops that you can sign up for?
I see it right here for May 29th, and I'll just look online and let Yvette know what, or is that what you're talking about for the NHL?
Yeah.
Yep.
So can I, just so I know how many people I'm waiting to hear from, because I usually have one check for everyone. Can I have a straw poll of who's coming?
I need to check my work schedule,
Okay,
but I'm
so-
planning on it, so I will let you know
Okay.
this week.
Okay. And Janice, do you know?
And I also just have to
Okay.
make sure it's okay with
Okay,
work.
I'll wait.
but I'll let you
No
know.
problem. Thank you.
I can let you know tomorrow, but definitely by the end of the week.
It's nice, it's gonna be in Manchester.
New hotel. Well, new ownership of the hotel.
I was there for a conference this fall. It's really quite nice.
Is
It's
it?
like, yeah, little changes if you've been to conferences
Yeah.
there, but there's, yeah, it's definitely improved over the years.
That's
Nice
good.
question.
Any other discussion on the conference? Okay. Janet, treasurer's report, please.
Okay.
Second.
Oh, I just closed it. Dummy.
Let's see if I got this right.
Sorry, I just closed the one I was looking at.
Of course.
I had it.
Do you?
I have it. I just, when I went to the tab, I hit the X, that's all. Okay, so the fines for the month of March, if you look on the balance sheet, fine starts off, and our beginning balance was $12,951.73. And we ended the month with $12,910.78. I'm just gonna highlight for the board, given our guidelines, we made a comment that if things were over $500, it needed to be pre-approved. There are 3 purchases throughout the year that are large print that go against fines that will be over $500. That is for the center point large print. It happens 3 times a year. It will always be over $500, but it's a reoccurring expense.
So we would need to vote on that to pre-approve that, because that's our guideline, but we could just approve that for the 3 times
For the year.
Or
for
just,
the year. Yeah.
okay,
And that way, the library can just go ahead and
Doing it.
order their
keep
books.
doing it,
Yeah,
okay.
okay. So I motion that we approve the purchase of the Centerpoint large print books for the year by the library.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay. All right.
Oh, we're talking fiscal year,
It's more like calendar year.
calendar year?
It honestly, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's still 12 months.
Well, the first check was written in March,
These are standing orders.
Right, I
So-
know.
standing orders, yeah.
We'll just cover it, that's all, since, I mean, it's a guideline, it's not a,
Mhm.
okay.
So. Karen, are you all set?
Yeah.
Okay. And special, we started with a balance of $13,858.48 and ended with a balance of, at the end of March with $14,743.73. I want to point out that at the bottom of special, like at the end of the balance report, you'll see Watson CD DCU. The certificate was renewed. You can see that it was renewed. We did not take the bank interest, so as of right now, or as of the end of March, we had the $30,257.01. That was what will be carried over for next year. The other thing I wanted to just, my other action item from last meeting was, no, it's for you three. It's all the same thing. This is the transaction confirmation that I moved the money, or sold out of the Fidelity Fund and bought the
Oh,
Fidelity NASDAQ Composite Index.
mhm.
So this is just confirmation, it got done, so you can see it, and now we're in a fund that is actually growing,
Mhm.
so.
Very good. Anything else? Any comments about the treasurer's report?
Any comments about the details, any of the details or not?
I didn't have a question.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so. the Watson-
Everybody's all
I
set?
should always say, I just love to see the 3-month breakout, though. I do like that.
I like
Everybody
3 months.
accept the treasurer's report? Move we accept the treasurer's report?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Alrighty, operating budget, general ledger. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There it goes. All right. I pulled it up, but I can't see it. Oh, how tiny it is. I can't see it.
Enlarge it.
I can't. Oh, it's funny. Any comments on the general ledger? No? Okay. I'll sit there at home.
It's like 2/3 or something like that of the,
Yeah, we've spent about that much.
Well, there's 3 months left, so there should be about a third left,
About a third left.
or quarter, I guess, quarter left.
All of July?
No, all of June, so we're in April, May, June. Okay, no, it's actually less, 2.5 months, so a little
Yeah.
less than a quarter.
Okay.
No. When the fiscal year ends
The end of June,
June 30th.
yes.
Okay. That was my mistake. All right, that's fine.
But it's gonna be a little skewed, right, because there's one-time the expenses of general insurance and certain things that just get paid off, so it's within the range that makes sense, so.
Yeah.
Any comments on the monthly invoices?
Yes, so Janet had some questions, which I had to reach back out to the staff for some of it. So the questions were 2 entries for notary on the Treasurer, State of New Hampshire, $75, March 11, and then another one on March 14th. These are applications for being a notary, becoming a notary, for Brendan Chella and Max Blanchett.
I don't see them on here. What
It's,
page is it?
let's see, 1583.
It says notary next to it. It's under,
It's
It's on
page
page
2, 158359.
these were the recap.
You did, I just
Oh.
didn't have it, so I don't know what to do with it.
Guess that's what that is, okay.
You're just looking for.
Oh, I see it over here.
So,
I see it now.
it's Brendan and Max, okay. So now there'll be 5 of you.
We're trying to have enough notaries in the building so that, like, I just notarized something before I left to come here, but now there's no notary in the building. And we still have an hour of work left. So, after Brendan and Max receive their notary license, then that's the whole reference staff will now be notaries. We did have some staff changes, so one of our notaries left.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's
Okay.
great, what a great service to provide.
People really enjoy it.
Yeah, and to
we-
be able to walk in and have it done and not have to come back, I think that's excellent,
Yeah.
so,
And until 9 o'clock.
yeah. No,
And
no,
on
it's-
Sundays.
Not
20 off.
today.
Right,
Okay.
right, that's-
Send them over here, they're on the public.
I have my stamp, so.
Any other comments
Uh,
on? oh, I'm sorry.
She had 2 other
I-
questions.
I-
I'm
3
sorry,
total questions,
I
sorry.
apologize.
Yeah. So the second question was, what IT work was done in March on 2 dates? This is the budget line 158353. There was work done on the 15th and work done on the 29th of March. Both with payments out of $240. So this is Dick Lambert, who is our outside IT tech. And he works with several of the GMILK's libraries, so he's very familiar with the kind of firewalls that we have to have on any of our devices, computers. So on the 8th, he installed Sonic Wall Security Update. There was a problem with a Google Chrome bypass issue where patrons could pay black and white prices for color prints. He networked the reference printer to the second reference PC, fixed PDF printing issues at the main reference PC, and relicensed the AVG antivirus software on one of the staff laptops. And then on the 18th, he installed a new wireless access point, removed lingering server connections in Polaris from recent GMILK server upgrades on Circ and reference computers. GMILK's just had a big upgrade. And then it investigated and repaired issues on one of the teen PCs. And then the third question was about 2 database purchases. These are in lines 158450 with a payment on 322. Let's see, 312 is 4,389, that's Newsbank. And then 2,168 and 18 cents is on 315 for Gale. So, Janet, you asked for detail on these items. So Newsbank is a single database that provides digital access to hundreds of national and local newspapers, including the Union Leader, Telegraph, and Monitor. And Biography in Context is a digital encyclopedia containing biographies, articles, and other sources of information on thousands of notable individuals, both from the past and in modern times. And this information is courtesy of Brendan Chella, our head of adult services.
Thank you very much.
Although the notary one is from me, because I sent that paperwork in. Any other questions about this?
Oh, that was great. Thank you.
Sure.
And that was part of our whole spiel. I just missed that one.
Anything else on the invoices? Any other questions or discussion? Okay. All right. Then we're up to the director's report.
Okay. So a couple of things that I'll read because you need to vote to accept if you wish. I have received a letter of resignation from Brittany Bergholm. She's the head of technical services. She's accepted a position as acquisitions and serials coordinator at Clark University in Massachusetts. Her last day will be April 26th.
I move we accept the resignation of Brittany Bergholm.
I second.
With regrets.
With regret.
Okay, I have her PAR that there are 3 copies to sign. And if you want to see her letter, that's her letter. Just, maybe a sidebar on Brittany. She has a notary, so that's another replacement we're making. When she came to us, she was a academic librarian, at UNH. And so she's moving back to academic libraries, which is a wonderful opportunity for her.
We did vote, didn't we? 500?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure. I was kind of writing at the time.
Can I go on?
Oh, she's just,
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry. Thank you. Go ahead. I was just looking.
We received the kids' books on the arts grant. This is informally called the KBA for 2019. The amount that Youth Services requested was $170.80, which is the amount they received. This is to bring the Mr. Errand Band, Aaron Jones, to the library on July 9th at 6:30 p.m. His total cost is $320.80, so we received, a good portion of that. And just to, highlight, there are limited funds available for the KBA, but all of the libraries in New Hampshire are eligible to apply for it if you finish your state report and turn it in. So we finished the state report, and I finished the state report and turned it in, so we're eligible. And Kathy Walter in Children's Room, she is the library assistant in Youth Services. She created the grant. She submitted the grant. So
What type of performance is it?
music.
Music. Okay. All right, I move that we accept the,
I have a question
go
about
ahead.
the-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the additional $150 that'll be needed for him, is that to come?
It's programming.
Anything else?
Next year.
So you'll see, what happens is we receive the check from the KBA, we deposit it, cut a check, that goes out,
Right.
goes in and out.
I move we accept the grant in the amount of $170.80. All in favor? Okay.
I don't know if there's anything else you had questions about this?
About the grant?
No, about
No,
my
about her
report?
The only question I had, and it may just be, I need to understand the process better. You've contacted 3 architectural firms. At the end of that,
Yes.
at the end of that little blurb, it says the joint boards do not want to follow up with these architects yet. And I just wanted to understand if they were contacted, and what did it mean that we're not following up, or they're not following up?
They don't want to.
They don't want you to get this information, or?
The joint, well, I mean, the joint board update is next, but the joint boards feel that that committee is too early in the process to start speaking to architects about the space plan, and the test fit, the floor plan. One of the architectural firms requested a copy of the space plan and the test fit and came back with a quote. The other one would like to sit down and have a meeting and talk and walk the building, but the joint board doesn't want to
Okay.
follow through with that.
Do we know? The reason why is because we're not ready
I
to do
think
that
the-
yet,
I
right?
think
Well,
that,
she's gonna,
go ahead, I'll let
Right.
Yvette
Say it
explain.
under
I think you
other
said that already, but,
You said what?
so the reason why we're not going forward with that is because it's not appropriate to do that, because the
They are not ready.
architects want
They're not
other
ready.
information.
No.
Okay.
The people who are on the committee are not ready. So some of the discussion was, they're still exploring a community center with a library in it, so they felt that to explore just a library renovation based on the test fit and the space planning survey is not something they want to look at yet or pay money to explore yet, because they're still talking about, does Merrimack want to have, could residents use a community center? And what are the components in a community center? And right now, all we know is maybe a library goes in a community center, but really nothing else. Nothing else. But the people on this committee are reaching out to Parks and Rec, I'm gonna reach out to the finance director and just kind of get some conversation going, so they're not ready. That's the short answer. I just put the short answer for you
That
in
was
the,
really helpful.
yeah, but
because-
I didn't think it would be helpful to make this report even longer to put
No,
one
but
update.
your answer
into-
was helpful,
Okay.
because it didn't make sense to me. Now I understand the context in which that
Sure, sure.
evolved.
Any other questions on this?
passport facility?
Pardon me?
The passport facility?
Yeah, we're live. We went live yesterday.
Yesterday.
Where is it, does that take place at circulation, or where?
No.
What's the process?
Well, the process is posted on the website, so if anyone wants to know what the process is, it's written out on the website. There's a passport page. And if someone would like to come to the library to submit their paperwork for a passport, they need to make an appointment with Brendan or myself, because we're the only passport agents right now. And then we have a kind of mobile station that we would sit down with someone in a private way, a private place, and be able to go over their paperwork and do all the things, as Emily says.
Excellent.
So,
Have
Yeah.
Have you had anybody come in at all?
well, we just started yesterday.
I
We went
know.
live
You went-
yesterday, and that's through the Passport Central kind of HQ. I had one phone call yesterday saying they wanted to make an appointment for next week. So, yep.
Word will have to get out.
Yay.
Yep.
Okay.
Will you just remind me, when is the dinner that Sheila is being,
It's Thursday.
this Thursday?
Where is it
Just double
located?
checking.
I emailed you. It's at the O'Leary Center at 6.
Oh, the O'Leary. Any other comments on the director's report?
I have another, maybe a question or something,
Okay.
but just to kind of fill you in, the Merrimack Rotary, or the Rotary Club of Merrimack has an annual Excellence in the Workplace Award, which you may
I've
remember.
heard of it,
Okay.
yeah.
So Sheila Lippman was nominated from the library, and the dinner to honor her is this Thursday, 6 o'clock at the O'Leary Center. Okay. So when I was putting this together, you know, I added in this year's goals, goals that I identified for myself and goals that you identified for me. One of the things that I guess I have a question about, and it's actually kind of nice because in your current spring 2019 NHLTA newsletter, there's a whole article about reviewing the performance of your library director. And one of the things that if you haven't, really managed staff before is, goals need to be SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And you can read about it in this article if you want. But some of these aren't fitting into those categories. So that's my general question. It would be helpful to have some guidelines for this. So something to think about. Maybe that's something the Personnel Committee can pick up and work on.
Or the retreat.
Well, this is part
Well-
2 of a 2-part series as well.
Sure.
This particular, which I found it very helpful.
Mhm.
The first
The
part,
article.
I
Oh,
wish the second part had come out before your review, but I agree. There's
Mhm.
no way to, or it's not as easy to measure if you don't say, I need this done by this time, this is what we're looking for. It helps both of us. Right. So I agree, if there's some way we can communicate that, we should.
Okay, so
Do
that
you need that done by a certain time?
Well, I mean, technically the goals are good for a year. I mean, they should be attainable in a year. Just as an example, the goals that I set for myself, I have some dates on these so that I know when I need to be communicating with the staff, and set some kind of benchmarks to complete things.
And you're referencing the article in the trustee newsletter?
That's one, sure. It's just
I
kind of
haven't seen it.
coincidental.
It's just the way goals should be
It-
written.
yeah.
They're
it
really
is the way it
general,
is, but this is
they're
just-
measurable. Yes, and, yes.
Oh,
Your
no,
objectives, no,
go
you
ahead.
want to have, what you're trying to achieve, exactly how you're going to measure that goal was completed, and then a date to do it. So I think that's just sort of standard practice
Mhm.
for creating goals.
I love the Brevett.
But I don't think it's been standard in how we document the reviews of the directors here.
No,
Not that specific.
my other goals were tangible. These don't seem very tangible to me. So it's,
And I agree.
okay.
Personnel Committee will work on it.
So now I'm coming back to my personnel committee question, because the personnel committee is the 2 people who are going to meet with you in terms of if something arises with staff or with
Sure.
staff members. But now we're saying a personnel committee are the ones that work
Yeah,
on the goals.
I see what has happened in the past is instead of the whole board getting together to talk about these things, they'll talk about it, come down with something, and then it'll
Got
be
it.
presented to the board,
Okay.
and then we kind of go, we tweak it a little here, tweak it a little there, and
Okay, thank you.
just so like so it doesn't have to be a full meeting,
Sure.
as well as just it's timely,
Mhm.
because it tends to be difficult to get all 5 of us. Or even 6 of us.
So that would be.
I'm always around.
That would be
That is
Janice
not
and
true.
Karen.
Hmm?
That would be Janice and Karen, they're the personnel committee,
I,
okay?
I have it, yes, I have Janice down.
Are you good for that?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
So do you and I arrange that with you?
No, this
Outside
is
of this
something the
meeting?
No, you two
personnel
would do.
committee does.
Okay. But she would be
Well, I
included,
think
wouldn't
first
she?
they should meet,
I would disagree with that, because these are already public. These are, it's board business. I mean, I would like to be involved in this conversation so that I can understand, because you already met separately in a non-public session to create my evaluation and my goals. So I kind of don't understand why you would need to meet again like that, and I would like to be in the conversation so that I can understand what the goals are.
Well, I think also to hear your viewpoint on what is a timely manner. Like, when do these enter data in QuickBooks on time? What makes sense? What would meet the trustees' need to see things, but what also makes sense to the running of the library? What does on time mean? That sort of thing. Like, I think if you met with them, you could give feedback on what
That's
those
very,
things.
yes, thank you, that's a very good way to put it.
I think that would help, wouldn't it? Because we don't know what you do day to day, so it'd be nice to hear that this makes sense in the runnings of operations of the library.
is that the consensus of the board?
That's fine with me.
Oh, it's fine with me.
Okay.
I think I'm not clear.
I think what Yvette is asking is to participate in the meeting of the personnel committee to look at the timeline for the goals and how they're going to feel more tangible for her.
But you are not asking to meet with all of us to do that.
No, the personnel committee, which is you and Karen, first.
Right, and then we would,
So I'm gonna ask Yvette again. You are not asking for the full board to
If
meet
you guys
with
all want to meet and talk to me about this,
Is that,
make it more
that was
tangible.
unclear to me. I wasn't
Actually-
sure if you were asking for that, and that's
Actually-
why I'm asking.
Actually, since this is something the entire board pulled together, it probably would be more appropriate that the board was involved in what this is looking like. Because certainly the board would have to approve, we can do it 2 ways. The entire board meets with the director to go through the process, or the personnel committee meets with the director to go to through the process, and then meets with the entire board for further discussion and approval. So there's 2 ways. One of,
either way, that's gonna be there. It's just a question of whether she meets with 2 of us, hopefully to make it slightly more efficient, and then bring it to the other 3. Or we can all meet and just have that as the sole reason for the meeting.
So I'm sorry to belabor this point, but I thought what I heard you say was, if we came up with these all together as a group, why wouldn't we therefore meet as a group to make addendums to it, if you will?
no, I thought what I said was that Laura was suggesting that you and Karen meet without me.
Right.
But you already met without me to come up with these. So I don't see why talking about them more without me is gonna help me understand what the goals are.
Okay.
That's
So
what
I
I mean.
misunderstood that, because I assumed you would meet with us.
Oh, good.
So I
okay.
misunderstood what you were saying, so I apologize.
so the board has to decide how you want to approach it. Do you want the personnel committee to meet with Yvette and bring the information back for the board? Or should the whole board meet with Yvette to go through this process. Can be done either way.
I'm happy to do it with Karen. I just wanted to be clear why we were doing that and to whose benefit that was. And whether you, who are not sitting with Karen and I, are saying, hey, go ahead, meet with Yvette.
I think you're just looking for some clarification on numbers, more like how do we, how are we gonna assess that I actually met this goal
attain
by
these
this time?
things?
Exactly. So it's
And
just,
when should I do it by?
yes, exactly. I think that's really pretty straightforward and you wanna be able to assess if it was met, so that would make sense to have more clarification on that, so. I don't feel like I need to be there, it seems like.
I don't either.
Okay. If everyone's agreed, then the Personnel Committee will meet with Yvette and then bring that information back to the board to review.
It's an action item.
Okay, I didn't have anything else, but if you had anything else about the report, there's also attached to this the maintenance projects. So if you had a chance to review that. Any questions on that?
The maintenance project, were you talking about the building?
The maintenance list?
The maintenance
This
list,
one.
yeah, okay, that's what I thought you meant. No.
I would just like to say as a patron, the seasonal display at the main entrance is lovely. It's always lovely. It's a great welcoming to the library, so whoever does that, they're doing a great job.
It's Jen Stover, Jen Green, Joanne Marston, and Jared Ulrich.
It's
They
great.
are, I totally agree, they're fantastic. I do nothing. I just admire it. Yeah.
It's very welcoming. It's
Oh, good. I'll tell them. Thank you.
And usually they find something to make a smile on your face as you're walking in, which
agree.
is very nice.
I agree.
Those snow people got me through the winter. I love that.
That's great. I'll let Jared know.
Okay, so we have a few action items.
Wait,
Let's review the action items so that we're all on the
Right.
same page.
wait,
What about other business?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Sorry, I jumped ahead.
wait a second.
We've already talked about the Stifler Space Program and the joint board officers meeting update. Is there anything else to add to that, Yvette?
I don't think so unless someone, you two were both there, Janet and Laura, so.
Not really. It's really a question of this group going through the
Yeah.
steps to see what the future of the library situation will be.
Yeah, is it? Someone said, I thought it was you, said that, like there are other committees in the town who have said they need space and the joint boards said, who are these other people? Because
Mhm.
we always were like, we as in the library have to there's not enough room to allow people. There's just not enough space. There's not enough meeting rooms for everybody who wants to meet. And apparently there are other organizations out in the town that have said to other people in the town that they also want meeting spaces. And we were like, well, who are these people? So would like to get their input and to see what do they need. Are we all talking about the same thing? Are we all talking about the same needs? We even went over the Parks and Rec survey because Parks and Rec wants certain things and then it was like, then we talked about MYA, it was like they all have very similar goals, but nobody's talking to each other. And the library felt like we were in the same boat in terms of meeting space. Well, are we in the same boat with other people? So, but nobody's talking to anybody.
But we will be.
But we're trying, exactly. We are trying to get to the right people.
Going to be meeting with the, Tim, who's the head of community development. No?
Tim Thomas.
Not going to be.
Nothing is confirmed yet.
Nothing is confirmed.
We're
Okay,
working on
I
that.
shouldn't say that then. I'll just not say anything. But we are trying to explore that, see what the bigger needs are. In terms of trustee goals, we'll be going over those at the retreat. This year, we're working on our trustee manual. Came up with few goals that we'll review at our next meeting. Are there any new policies to review?
No policies this month, but I have a couple of other things.
I do too, just so I don't get forgotten.
Okay. I emailed, we were talking about a board evaluation form, and this is the form that has been used in the past, so I included that in your packets. Also, administrative stuff, there is a contact list for the trustees, so now that we have a new trustee, I'm gonna pass this around. You can make any corrections on your own name, and then, obviously, Deb, fill in
Okay.
whatever you need, and I will clean that up. So that's one thing. I also said I would bring in the statistics for the quarter, so I will hand that out. Those are my papers. That's everything I have.
Oh, that's right, the statistics.
These are also my other favorite things. Just like when things are in pictures and colors.
There's no context. Doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so no policies, right?
Are there any comments on the statistics? When you took out, it says equipment line no longer includes video games, that just became its own separate item, period.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for not knowing this, but are we still doing the bookmobile? Like, to the,
That goes through the Meals on
the
Wheels.
yeah, the meals.
We don't
on
have
Wheels.
any clients right now.
Okay.
But it's a service that's still
Oh, sure.
available.
We
Yeah.
just don't have clients right now.
Yeah.
I don't have any comments.
Any comments on the statistics right now?
More people on Hoopla. It's kind of evened out, though.
Okay then, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you were surprised about in the statistics?
Is there anything I was surprised about?
Yeah.
Well, we know that Hoopla is still growing, you know, and that's something we had not advised to budget for, because we don't know, and the other GMLX libraries that have Hoopla also can't foresee when it's going to level out. So it just seemed to be unsustainable. So that's why in the coming fiscal year budget, we didn't increase it. But we did have some conversations, I'm trying to remember. I remember talking to you about it, but I don't know where we were. I don't
In your
know.
office
Yeah, but,
with Erica and Joanne.
oh, sure, we were talking about QuickBooks, yeah. Mhm. So that conversation that we were having was coming off of a department head conversation that I had with the staff about this nice problem that we're having about running out of money. And so how to budget it out and request some funds. I don't have a number yet from Brendan. You know, and request funds possibly for the next fiscal year from the trustees to supplement until we see where it levels out. You know, the Bedford Library, I believe they've had Hoopla longer than the other GMOX libraries, and I believe they're starting to see, you know, which is the right formula in terms of having this number of checkouts. This is the amount of money that's going to this. These are the unique users, you know, and each community, of course, is different, so it's just kind of like a balancing act of trying to see. But I think we were all very surprised that it's taking off. The most used part of that collection is audiobooks.
Audiobooks?
Yes.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I would have
I
thought it was
use-
video.
I go through a book like every other day.
Like what?
On
A
Hoopla?
book, yeah, an audiobook about every other day,
Really? That
Yep.
fast?
Yeah.
because I always have it on.
And I think, you know, the feedback we're getting, even from the staff, is just the content is improving.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
that's why the use is going up.
Yeah.
We didn't foresee this, and now we have this lovely problem.
Exactly.
You know, yeah. You know, so that's nice. I mean, you know, we just continue to watch that, but that certainly was a surprise for us.
Anything else? Any other comments on the statistics? Okay. Anything else anyone would like to bring up this time?
I do. I have a couple things.
Okay.
Okay. We just mentioned that I was in a meeting with Erica, Joanne, and Yvette. We talked about QuickBooks. This happened on April 4th. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of what we talked about. We talked about the QuickBook categories with each description and how the deposits and transactions will be accounted for. All trust fund money should be spent within the fiscal year. All DCU money donations should be spent within the fiscal year. All copier expenses, the copier, toner, lease, repairs, anything for the expenses for copier should go under copier. All Friends money now in and out will have the classification of Friends of the Library, which is significant because Joanne wants to really keep track of how much is being spent specifically from Friends. So that's how we handled it. There are no more separate hospitality categories. It's just hospitality because in the past we had hospitality for patrons, hospitality for programs, and in the end, anything for programs, any of the hospitality that went to programs just went in the program line. And we're cognizant of that now that Friends took over the book sale money. We just have to watch what's being spent in special. We're just keeping an eye on it. That was pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. Joanne made a deposit today, but it doesn't show up until tomorrow.
Right.
So I put it in manually,
Great.
just you can reconcile, and
Fabulous.
I have things to sign. Well,
No problem.
Janet, after the hospitality, what was the last thing you just?
Sorry, I went through that really quickly. Just that since Friends took over the book sale,
Friends, yeah, Friends book
we're
sale.
just watching the special account. actually, I'm glad I brought that up. So, we're gonna talk about scheduling in the retreat. I have two things specifically that I'm gonna bring up in the retreat, just so everybody's aware.
I'm gonna write it down.
No. I'm gonna do an overview of fines and specials, where we get our money, where we spend our money. I think it'll be helpful for Deb, and it's just a good overview. And then,
Those documents that we came up with regarding that are going into the manual.
okay. And then I have, and I will have trust documents. I'll have a compilation of, I have all copies of all the trusts that the town holds, as well as our own trust, and how it's written, where the money is, all the allocations. Exactly.
And those are going in the manual as well.
So everybody will get a copy and then a copy for that. So those are two things that I think would be beneficial. I mean, I know when I came on, the first thing I did was follow the money. So that was that. This past Saturday, the garden club happened to be at the library. They were cleaning out.
Oh.
I was at the library. I saw them. I said hello. I thanked them. I met Diane and Fergie. They apparently are both co-chairs of
Fergie.
What is it?
It's Virgie.
Oh, Fergie. Okay, sorry, I apologize. I spelled it right. I said it wrong. And Diane had some questions for us, and I just said I would talk to the board. And then I said, and if anything comes from it, Yvette, you would talk to her about it.
Well, you have a building committee.
True, exactly, and I don't mind talking to her. But one of the questions she had was the location of the granite sign, or the future location of the granite sign, depending where that goes, just to inform her or them. There is an exhaust pipe at the southeast corner of the building, and it's making a hole. Okay, she just was like, that's a hazard, and just really just wanted you to be aware of it. And then they're going to a wholesaler for plants, a wholesaler for plants, or however you say it.
A whole $1 for plants?
No,
Wholesaler.
a wholesaler,
Wholesaler.
wholesaler for plants,
Right.
yes.
So they're
Um,
less expensive plants, and
correct.
you buy them in quantity, yeah.
Exactly, and they buy them for their own plant sale as well as to put in the various gardens that they support. She asked if we would be willing to support them because their intent is to buy some annuals to put some color in that front corner. So, are we willing to support them in any way, shape, or form?
Did they ask for a specific amount?
She did not. She said, we've never had it in the past, so anything that you might want to provide, we would be willing to take and buy accordingly to that corner.
Turned out the corner of Babuzik Lake and 3?
Yes. Because she said, I heard that you want color. Colors are annuals, and she has an idea of which annuals. She rattled off about 5 or 6 different plants. Some are shorter, some are taller, and she would put them in clusters. And I said I would talk to the board.
Well, I have no idea how much.
I don't either.
So would that be like, could they provide us with some sort of estimate or
She-
invoice?
I
so we
asked,
could
and she
decide
just
what
said,
to- Or should we decide an amount and just, is that what we're?
To get a decent cluster of plants in different sizes, I mean, you could be talking $20 a pot.
but they're still, no, they're seedlings.
Oh, they're seedlings.
They're seedlings. They're not like a full-grown
Oh,
plant.
I'm thinking buying the full
No,
plant.
no, no, no. That's,
They're gonna be annuals too, right? So
yeah,
those
they're
are
annuals,
really a
so they're
lot less.
seedlings,
Yeah.
exactly. And we're still talking, it's the first week of May, sorry. So they're not gonna be planted for like another month or 6 weeks.
Oh,
So they're gonna grow.
okay. I would guess at least a couple hundred, but it's sort of out of my world. I don't know what that would be. Anybody
Do
have any
we-
thoughts on that? Are you in favor
Well,
of?
have you been discussing anything? They come here usually?
No.
No.
No, the last communication you had with them, they gave you an update and.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was it. I don't know.
The board have any thoughts about this?
I think it's a great idea. It would be nice if we could come up with an amount and say, not to exceed X or something like that, just to give them a range. I mean,
I agree.
It's a big enough corner, you're gonna need quite a few plantings to make an impact of show. So I would guess.
Yeah, but it's a start. She still had some, I think she said she has some other perennials that she wants to put in, but she's still gonna do them in clusters, and there's still gonna be mulch around it. So,
Well,
I would think it would cost
I agree.
at least a couple
Probably
hundred.
whatever amount we're willing
Exactly.
to give them.
It's
they're
still more than
probably
we've ever
going
done in the
to, like,
past.
Be happy about
Yeah.
it.
so,
Well, what, 150, 100,
I think it's
200?
gonna take at least 200.
remember though,
For seedlings.
It takes
as
a lot
much
of
as I
seedlings
want
fill
that
the
to look
space.
beautiful, it's still their time.
Yes,
So, if we say like $200, that's a lot of plants
A lot.
that they would have to plant.
but they don't have to use it all.
That's true.
yeah, that's why I was saying, like, could you
And
not,
they
put,
could-
like, not to exceed,
could
you know,
get
up
some-
to this, whatever they need,
Yes,
up
and
to.
we've
They
done
could get
that
some
in the
bigger
past
plants
for
along with the little
others.
plants.
I'm not gonna tell them what to buy.
So make a motion,
I
put them out.
I would say up to a couple hundred, because in order to buy decent plants that are gonna be what you want, it does add up pretty quickly. So I would say at least that.
So up to $200.
It's a guess, but that's what I would think.
So do you know if this is something that they would then ask, like, annually for the trustees to?
If I were them, I would say yes.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Which I don't think is bad, I'm just was wondering if that was sort of the intention then. But-
Well, when they came here and then with other side conversations, they heard that we wanted color in the front. And they recognized that to have color, you have to have annuals. So to have annuals,
They have to be replaced every year.
right.
Yeah.
So, and we told them when they were here, they would be willing to support, because usually the library was getting essentially like their leftover plants that they didn't sell at their
Sale.
plant sale.
Yeah.
So I'm all in favor of supporting them. I'm all in favor of up to $200. Yeah,
Okay?
Well,
Do we have a motion?
it comes out of special.
so a motion, I move that we offer the garden club up to $200 for the purchase of annuals,
Well, just plants.
for the purchase of plants.
Well, whatever they feel.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay. Motion passes. Anything else anyone would like to bring up this time?
I do.
Oh, you have some more?
I have, yeah. I have one more thing. Yvette, would you ask Chuck Miller, the tech guy in the town, if he could link or forward your town account to your library account, your email?
Okay.
Uh,
Are you using my government?
I try not to, but I get it ever so often, and I'm like, "Arr!" And the only reason I catch it is because you didn't reply. And then I'm like, she didn't reply. I'm like, she's really good at replying. And then I check, and I'm like, that's why. I'm like, because I ended up using the .gov. But if they're linked,
Oh,
then-
that would be nice.
Yeah.
Because I usually have to try 3 different addresses, and I've tried to take them off.
yeah.
And you can't take them off. Once they're on there forever. And I have 2 .govs of yours and then 2 libraries of yours, one that's the library and one that's your name, which is actually the library one. So it would be great if everything connected, then I could send everything once.
I have my action order.
Oh,
Action
there it
item.
is, an action item, an action item.
And that's it.
Okay, anything else,
Chuck Miller.
Like, I just took one out of my head.
anything else anyone would like to bring up at this time? Any thoughts or comments?
Well, we should,
We still need the retreat.
we should list our action items.
Well, she has a
That's
comment.
all right.
Oh, okay.
No,
go
no,
ahead.
it's actually action items
What's
first
the
and then
deal?
public, so.
This is,
I can-
there's an order on the agenda?
Okay,
Right, and-
we'll do the calendar after, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to make a quick comment about the passport, which is great. I'm so happy because I recently had to do it for the kids, and the kids, even though my kids actually had the passport, because they renew them every 5 years, it actually counts as new passport, so you have to make an appointment. But when you look it up online, it's not clear at all. So what happened is I came with all my documents, the kids and everything, and they're like, nope, you can't do it, you have to have an appointment. And then to get an appointment with the post office not during school hours is difficult. So having it, we ended up going to Goffstown, but I almost ended up going to Milford Library because it was a better time. So having it in Merrimack is great.
Good.
So very happy. And I didn't know that, so
We
too
just,
bad I already did it. I would just do it again just to do it at the library.
we'll see you in 5 years.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
You don't need an appointment.
No, I do.
You still need.
You do.
You do. I know. But you think you don't, but you do. Yes, thank you. That's all. That was all.
Thank you. All right, we have a few action items I'd like to go over to make sure that we are all on the same page. And I can be corrected here. One of them is that the secretary, I wasn't sure if it was the secretary or that, was going to send the purpose statements on all of the committees to each of us. We'll see. Why don't you both send what you have in case they're different?
What? Oh,
The purpose statements of the LBOT committees.
sent to
The board.
the board.
The second one is there will be 2 trustees attending the agenda meetings, which are the first Tuesday of the month, I believe we set them up as.
First Monday?
First Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Are we keeping our, sorry.
Do you have it down?
Yep.
Okay. The third one is the Personnel Committee will be meeting with the library director to go over the goals. And to identify timelines on them. Okay. And the last one I have is that the director will speak to Chuck Miller to link the library email and .gov, the library and the .gov email accounts
Hers specifically.
for hers,
Okay.
because she's the only, we're all on .gov, she's not.
I am, but I don't.
She doesn't use
She
it.
doesn't use it,
Yeah.
so.
Are there any other action items that I might have not included?
I'm gonna talk to Diane and tell
Oh,
her.
okay.
the garden club?
That's the garden.
Yeah.
That was my,
Sorry, after I said it, I was like, she's one of the co-chairs of the,
so
or
who's going to do that?
I will.
Regarding the donation. You know how to get a hold of her.
Yes, I do. Yvette, how would you like them just to submit a receipt to you? How would you like them to do that?
That's probably the easiest thing.
Okay.
Do you have it all, Karen?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we need to add to the action items?
Just
No? Okay. As you can see, we have a full calendar. April 23rd is next Tuesday, The Secret Life of Library Books,
I'm going to that.
and How the Library Weeds and Mends.
I already have it
For
in my
2 men.
calendar.
I'll see you there.
29th will be the Friends meeting at the library at 7 o'clock. April 30th, 8:30 a.m. There will be a full staff meeting.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
What's CRAS?
Crease.
CRAZE is Citizens Response to Active Shooter Events.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting.
And, I'm sorry, Deb. This is when the entire staff is together. So if you wanted, if you were available, but you probably aren't, at 8:30
Next
to meet
week I
them all.
would be, but not the week.
You'll just have to meet them one-on-one.
I think I've met most of them
Probably.
from my constant use, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
May 3rd, 10:30, the Whipple Free Library, New Boston. There's a Hillstown meeting with Lori Fisher presenting on the 50/50 fundraising for the Baker Free Library renovation. May 21st at 7 p.m. is the next trustee meeting here at Town Hall. May 29th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. is the New Hampshire Library Trustee Association Annual Conference at the Doubletree Hilton in Manchester. And if there's a Development Fund Committee meeting scheduled, that will be announced at that time. Any comments? Press, public, or board members anymore at this time? And we will be going into a non-public for job candidates?
Mhm.
Okay. So, I move.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much. I move that we adjourn so that we can go into a non-public. Can I take a roll call?
No, we can't adjourn until we go into non-public and come out of it.
We do a roll call.
You
That's what I was just gonna say, I just thought, let's do a roll call.
Okay. Yes, well,
I forgot my purse.
yeah, don't do that.
Don't worry, we're not there yet, you're fine.
I have the car keys, anything else?
It's a nice purse, I don't know.
So since I've never done this and gone into non-public, so what is the procedure? You say we're going into non-public and we just do?
No.
And then, no, okay.
Well, we have to,
Just have a roll.
we have to ask each one of us separately whether we agree. And then we do.
Perfect.
It's like taking attendance.
Got it.
Yeah. You can say I, you can say here, you can say Deb, you can just acknowledge yourself.
You say yes.
So
Whatever.
let's take a roll call.
I always start over there, so I've never done it before.
Karen,
Yes.
present.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.